Welcome to the machine.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody in between and all over the world, welcome to Finals Day. The ultimate showdown, 3 top quality matches to come from the highest caliber teams Europe has to offer. Brought to you by ULTI.TV for free here on YouTube. And how are we going to open it up? Well, why not with a little bit of open? As we see Ranelagh, the lads with an H, from Dublin, going up against perennial champions and, quite frankly, the bad guys of European Ultimate, Clapham. They are actually quite lovely. Speaking of people who are lovely, I am joined by the inimitable, indefatigable, inexhaustible, indispensable icon, Ravi Vasudevan. Ravi, how you feel?
Feeling pretty good, Lorcan. Had a little bit of a rough go of it yesterday, but recovered. Ready for these finals. It's been quite a tournament here. I don't think a lot of people would have picked Ranelagh to make the final, given their performance earlier in this year. They have faced Clapham 3 times in the Bologna invite, at Worlds, and at the London invite. All times were losses. But I talked to Ranelagh before this game, and they said that they had EUCF as the goal for the season. Even though they were going to Worlds, the goal was to get a medal here. They've already done that. And the question is, can they challenge Clapham? Very few teams have. Last time, 2017, on these fields, Cusb Lafota took Clapham down in a quite surprising fashion. But here, since then, Clapham still look like the dominant side in Europe and still by far the favorites here. But Ranelagh playing their best ultimates that I've ever seen them play here at this tournament this year, any year. Trying to do already doing better than their 4th place finish last year, and we'll see how they can do against Clapham right now.
So they're going to be starting out on offense. It'll be interesting to see how they do, as I am here to watch the manifestation of a wish I made on a cursed monkey paw many years ago, to see an Irish team in the EUCF Open Final. Ranelagh definitely deserving to be here. They knocked out what a lot of people thought would be a sure thing in the final, or certainly in the semi-finals, with Mooncatchers. Then they beat the surprise Heidi's in the semi-final yesterday that we streamed. So here we go, Conor McHale with the pull, and he rips one, as is his nature. Waiting underneath it. It's going to go all the way to Cochrane. Cochrane, middle of the pitch, has Rogers, decides not to get it. Swan Thompson is down immediately. Eels slithers to get some pressure onto Cochrane. Cochrane's looking for options. He sees McNamara making a cut. McNamara and Rag is going to be quite a matchup. Rogers with the disc, frequently seen as the maestro of this Ranelagh offense. That is a beautiful leading pass. He gets into a power position, sees Sam Murphy, decides against it. Sam Murphy's been having perhaps the tournament of his life so far, as they get across to the far sideline, and Tig Deavy. Deavy into the middle. McNamara, it bounces off his hands, and he does a forward roll to let that lie in the dirt. He's right back, heads up on defense. Thompson still waiting. He has Hillman. Hillman's trying to get free on field. He can't quite do it. It forces instead to go for the break to McHale on the far sideline. McHale fortunate to be able to get that off. And then a tasty little backhand break to keep it on the break side for Thompson. Thompson now trying to work his way down the pitch, goes to the scooper. It's just McHale and Thompson right now working between each other, close to the sideline. You'd like to see them swing it off it, maybe introduce a little bit of space into this offensive structure, or just keep breaking it all the way to Hillman for the opening score.
break for Clapham, and kind of similar to what we saw out of Ranelagh yesterday. Their first offensive point a little bit shaky. Here, just a little bit of a dink off of McNamara. After that, in the semifinal, they played perfect offense. We hope they can find that in themselves here against a much tougher defense here in Clapham's side. And you see when Clapham get the disc off you, that D-line offense is amazing. One of the better offenses in Europe. And there it was just so hard for Ranelagh to apply any pressure once Clapham got the disc.
Seemed like Clapham, once they got the turn, threw only break throws. And a lot of them were between Thompson and McHale. McHale, of course, you might see sporting a little bit of a patch next to his eye. He is not a part-time pirate. He is totally fine. Talking to him earlier on today, he feels quite healthy and saying like these are the moments you got to play for. So he's excited to be out there. He had an unfortunate collision with during their match against KFK.
Yeah.
Earlier in the tournament. You can check out, I think, their Instagram stories to see how they're getting on there. So 1-0 to Clapham. But it was an unfortunate drop. It seemed like Ranelagh's flow was working. They were getting what they wanted to get, just a little bit of an unforced error. The
problem here, you know, against Heidi's, they had a couple unforced errors in that first point, but they were able to get the disc back every time. Clapham's D-line offense is just much more stingy. Like you said, throwing tons of break passes. That's not usually what you see out of a D-line offense, right? D-line offenses are just athletes. You see the throwing prowess that's on Clapham's D-line offense, just incredible. So really, really hard. They're not going to get the chances back that they got against Heidi's here, so they're going to have to clean it up right now. Talking to them earlier, they said that the key, they've beaten them 1/2 so far this season. They were up 8-3 on them in a game that they ended up losing. But they said we need to play hard in the first half and then keep that energy going in the second half. So far, not the greatest start. Gonna have to clean it up right now.
Maybe an injection into the arm. They certainly came in here in the right mentality. Loud singing, lots of joy. Cochrane centers it to Feely, middle of the pitch. Matthew Feely. Ballincollig in court. Gets a DV. DV wastes no time launching that one deep. But stealing in there is Magnus Wilson. He read it. The shot was always a little bit shy of its intended target. Alcock gets it down the line. And here come Clapham again. They get another turn. Amala sends it back to Wilson, the man who got the block. The catch block as well to McHale. McHale surveys. Ranelagh doing a good job right now limiting the downfield options, but McHale, those little breaks have been so lethal already in this matchup as he gets it down the line. That's Modiano, back to Wilson. McHale, stutter stops, gets free from Micklem. Now McHale goes for another break, and he is just slicing apart this Ranelagh O-line defense right now.
Yeah, you see here again, Ranelagh's O-line not able to apply any pressure here. Clapham very comfortable. Yes, it's taken them a lot of passes, but every pass has been uncontested.
It's Funk, and McHale is just throwing breaks at will. Funk goes with one himself, gets it to Amala just outside the end zone. McNamara marking him, and a momentary stoppage of play. Tension continues to mount. The pressure pushing down on both these sides. But it is a situation in which Clapham are familiar and comfortable. We will see how the Dublin boys can respond. Amala, Funk, duking, jiving, dancing. Gets it in the backfield. Looks for McHale, and it's another break across to McHale. They are just throwing to that side at will. McHale thinks about a hammer momentarily. Amala goes down the line on the break side. McHale instead takes the around. And it's a mistimed throw. There's going to be a call, an uncontested foul. McNamara must have clipped Amala's back of his shoes.
If that's an uncontested receiving foul, then it should go to the receiver, no? I'm a little confused as to what the call actually was there.
I mean, if it's not a completed pass, should it?
Well, uncontested receiving foul goes to the receiver.
Fair enough. Well, we have to assume at the very least that McHale is getting a fresh 10. As Sam Murphy comes on to mark him.
Yeah, I guess if the foul happened before the throw, then it could stay with McHale.
And it comes back, McHale. Still looking for Amala. Amala is moving against McNamara. The first go around to Alcock. Alcock playing against Rogers, back to McHale. And McHale has really been pulling the strings of this defense, and he gets it to Funk at the front corner for the second break.
2 assists for McHale so far this game. A D-line player getting 2 assists. You don't want to see those stats if you're Ranelagh. But again, this Clapham D-line offense so hard to stop once they get the disc. And that was just an unforced error both times. Once on a throw, once on a catch. And Ranelagh have to sort themselves out. Again, in other games, you can get the disc back. Against this Clapham team, you have to play solid, perfect offense, and they have the ability to do that. We've seen them play amazing offense so far this tournament, but this game hasn't been it.
It's something we've talked about so many times in the past. When you get into this situation, you're not just playing against Clapham, you're playing against their reputation. We've seen teams get beaten by that time and time again. 2 largely unforced errors. I mean, DV has made that shot over and over again for this Ranelagh side. Their offense is literally built around him and Sam Murphy, collecting it in those power positions and bringing those shots to the end zone. So we will see how they can recover in the timeout and address their mentality to get back into this game in a significant way. In the meantime, we will take our first break of the first finals here at EUCF 2022.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV. ULTIleague.net.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Welcome back. And welcome to the game if you are just now joining us. I appreciate that a 9 o'clock start in a finals day is not something we're all accustomed to. Certainly when it's CET, as well as both of the nations represented here are an even further hour behind. So I hope you're having a good Sunday morning. Your hangover is abating. Have you considered drinking to get rid of it? As Alcott goes with a big pull all the way down to the far sideline and keeps it in bounds. Nicely done. And Dean McCreary making a journey over from the D-line. He has been incredibly impressive all tournament long for this Ranelagh side. Several tape-to-tape hooks. Rogers. They are also joined by Keenan. So that's another D-line specialist stepping onto the O-line. Ranelagh not afraid to mix up these lines and kind of help him get a few options. Eels is giving McCreary all kinds of trouble, but not enough to stop him getting the disc, and that's exactly why you need those kind of players. Some big hype-up plays. He's not going to let it rest. McNamara down to Keenan. Keenan and McCreary really making their presence known as the 2 D-line players. Come back, and that one just a bit too close. Eels able to snake out there and snap at it. And it bounces off the cuticles of McCreary. Hillman picks it up, wastes no time. That's another inside break, basically, to Cragg.
And another unforced error here from Ranelagh. You see, I mean, yes, Eels was giving pressure, but that was just an undercooked throw. Still catchable, but...
At least in that way, the pressure he's putting on is going to affect the thrower's decision-making, as we see Nathan Ragg with the disc. That shock of blonde hair and that shocking style of play, you never know where he is. You just have to assume he's coming. Ragg goes down the line, he's looking for Alcock. Huge layout block by Samuel Murphy. That man has been talismanic for Ranelagh, and he gets a huge play for them right when they need it. Wouldn't mind seeing him just immediately go deep for a McCreary flick. He gets it to Rogers on the inside break instead. Keenan makes a move downfield. Rogers looks in the immediacy. Hillman peels off to try and block a lane, so he goes back to Feely in the middle of the pitch. Largely unmarked. Feely and Rogers. Rogers again with the disc. There's a call downfield, so we're just going to take a quick break.
That play is just what Ranelagh needed. They have to be able to get the disc back because it seems, by the way it looks, they're not going to have perfect offense this game. And Sam Murphy's showing maybe that'll take a little bit of pressure off. We can get the disc back, so you don't need to play with such urgency, such pressure. Calm your team down a little bit. We'll see what Rogers can do for this third offensive chance for Ranelagh. It got broken twice so far this game.
As we see, it looked like, is that Nicky Buck coming off, McHale coming on, as well as Bogan Carey coming on. Well, I didn't see which Ranelagh player went off for him. Rogers goes with the dump back to Feely. There's the quick bot back. This give-go style is what they're going to look to get going. And then Feely just launches one. They look for the big man downfield, and he takes it down for the score! Tyke Bogan Carey.
That is just what the doctor ordered for Ranelagh. You see they're still hyped. They still have great body language. Look at this. They are not out of this game. They want this. They want to fight. honestly, maybe getting that turn was good for them because that layout D from Murphy is what they needed, and then a huge play to get the score. Now we're going to see Clapham's O-line come out for the first time this game. Maybe they'll be a little bit rusty after being out for so long. We'll see what Ranelagh can do on defense. So far, Ranelagh has been a team, when I've watched them, we're going to see here, layout D. Great read from Murphy.
That's leadership right there.
And then here.
That's Feely and Rogers passing it back and forth. These are the power positions that they want to set up for themselves. He recognizes Bogan Carey going deep.
And just no fear with that throw.
No hesitation, and that would be exactly what they need to keep doing. They can't start hesitating just because they've had a few slightly unforced errors, because then they stop playing their game, and then they lose this one.
They can't hesitate, but they have to execute. That's what they did in that play. So far,
well-timed coup.
The first 2 points this game, they had execution errors. Clean that up right now. But what I was going to say, Ranelagh, to me so far, their defense has been pretty good, but it was in the offense has been the most impressive thing when I saw them in that Heidi's game. So now it's up to this D-line to win this game. As everybody knows, defense wins games. Their O-line has given a little bit of a hole, and we'll see what Ranelagh's D-line can do the first point of this game. They are hungry, chasing down this pull.
They need to be, because it's an awfully big meal in front of them. Briggs, back of the end zone. One of the most accomplished and steady throwers in Europe. Gets it to Ford, probably the most accomplished and steady player in Europe. Ford wastes no time. He's going deep immediately, looking for options downfield. And it is collected on the other side. That was so well weighted, and then they just leading pass to Yo. And that's going to go in for a score straight away. Keenan flashing on, but nothing coming of it. So, great shot from Ford. And pretty comfortable offense.
Yeah, not a lot of pressure there from the Ranelagh defense. I think they were forcing middle. At least there was a change of mark when Ford got the disc. Briggs was being forced forehand, and Ford then got forced backhand. And I think that in that moment, that switch of mark gave Ford that opportunity for that backhand huck because the defense was on the other side. You see here Ford, no hesitation, just shoots it deep. Charlie Butt there with the reception. Into Yo. So yeah, I think that change of mark just gave Clapham the opportunity, and Ford the type of player you can see that immediately every time. Great stuff from Clapham.
I think people sometimes, maybe it's just because we've been a decade under the influence of Ford, but he can take for granted that he does have a full arsenal of throws. You see a lot of those breaks, those little dishes, and he just uses his immense athleticism to, quite frankly, dominate the open division for a very long time. But he does have a very deep well of throws, and that, like you said, that momentary, oh, so this, you've now given me an open side hook to a player who's effectively on the break side. I'm going to take that every time. Conrad Wilson chasing it down, and then popping up the quick, easy pass to Ashley Yo for the collection in the end zone. So 3-1. Not a huge amount of pressure applied by the Ranelagh D-line.
Not yet, but their O-line's going to have to get back out there as Connor McHale with the big spinning pull for Clapham.
So this is back to the standard affair, or more standard affair for the Ranelagh O-line. And that one's just thrown behind Deavy. And now Clapham are looking for another opportunity to get a break and push their lead out to a 4-1. It's Funk with the disc. McHale pointing, looking, gets free of Murphy. That's a nice little misdirection move that he's got, and then a throw over the top. The upside down. Swan Thompson thinks about a hammer, decides against it. Instead, opting to go back. And back to Swan Thompson again. So Clapham just taking their time, and this is what makes them so deadly. They're not going to rush anything. They're not going to force anything. Woo! Wilson bobbles it ever so slightly, but carries on to keep getting it under the attentions of Micklem. And now McHale goes for another break, arcing it around to Funk. Can he finish the move? McNamara slides across, and there Swan Thompson moves himself into the open side to get the score, 4-1.
Just so impressed here, Lorcan, with Clapham's D-line offense. I've said it overall this game, but that was a lot of amazing reset plays. Connor McHale throwing a scuba, just playing very comfortable offense. And Ranelagh not able to apply pressure, whether it's their O-line defense or their D-line defense. So far, Clapham looking unbothered except for that one layout D we got from Murphy. That's a layout D. Sometimes that'll work out. Here we're going to see the scuba from McHale. Oh, no, sorry, that's the round shot to Funk.
Another break, though. There's the smooth slide by McNamara, but Swan Thompson cuts as if he's going break side, then curves at the last second to open and gets free of Rogers. And Conor McHale is just throwing out these breaks that are making is Clapham D-line offense nearly impossible to stop.
Just another unforced error there from Feely, just throws not on.
It was an unfortunate one. Threw it behind Tyke DB.
I mean, I know Clapham's defense puts a lot of pressure on you and makes your adrenaline rise, and maybe you can say they're forcing the errors that way, but so far, Ranelagh is used to that. Ranelagh is used to playing under pressure, but they've just been giving it away.
I genuinely think it's a mentality thing. You see that flash of red near your player, and you're thinking, I have to be super accurate with that, and then you're thinking is hesitating. That's why I never do it.
So 4-1 the score here. Clapham up 3 breaks at the moment. Ranelagh with just the 1 hold, which was a dirty hold. Have yet to score it cleanly this game, as opposed to Clapham's O-line, who's been on 1 point this game and scored with complete ease.
As Rogers collects it from Feely. Rogers thinks about the deep shot straight away. You can see that standard Clapham defensive structure where they peel off to clog the lanes and try to stop any initial pass play. Feely's there. Oh, and another miscommunication. Buck sneaks in to steal that one away. Gets it back to Hillman. Miscommunication between Feely and McNamara. And they get it down the line, just down his mud. Modiano Stoll was getting a little bit high, but never really that high as he gets it off to Rag. Rag goes back to Modiano, and Clapham's D-line really just taking their time. The Eels looks for Modiano again. Murphy once more comes in for the D. I mean, at least you have to say there's at least one Dubliner who is not afraid of this moment right now, and he will drag the rest of his team there with him, it seems, if he has to. Feely, TV, big sweeping cut. And they have Keenan, they send it to him. There's a miscommunication, that's gonna have to go back, it seems.
He's just suspiciously free, as Benji Reese likes to say. Pretty sure there was a pick there.
I believe Hillman is the man marking him. Number 37 for Clapham. So Sam Murphy recognized what Modiano was trying to go for and was able to get there just in time. Stevie's going to pick that up under the attentions of Cragg. Long-time Fire of London player, playing with Clapham since 2018, that world cycle. Murphy gets in the dump position, goes for a break, looking for Rogers, finds him. Rogers has Keenan straight in front of him, doesn't want it. Hillman's trying to poach into that lane, so now Keenan has an opportunity to get suspiciously free. Will it be justified? Feely gets the sweeping across. Keenan's doing a great job of taking advantage of the poaches that Hillman's sitting on. There's the big arcing one. Eels on McNamara underneath it. McNamara reads it correctly and gets the score. But there's going to be a foul call by Eels. So,
hey, retracted.
And it is retracted for the score. Salty or Sweet in the end zone, and that time it was Sweet who comes up with it.
McNamara there with a huge play. I mean, I guess when I saw that throw come off, I was like, oh, this is not what you want to do to force it, that matchup. But I think you see the height difference there between McNamara and Eels, and it actually is the right shot. Here we're going to see Murphy get that D. Murphy just doing all the work for this Ranelagh O-line when they get on defense. And now,
the irony of that being, as you can see this disc going to Keenan, doing a lot of the work for the Ranelagh O-line, even though he's a D-line player.
And like I said, when that disc went up, I was thinking, nah, that's speculative, but the height mismatch McNamara versus Eels maybe was just very well seen there by Keenan.
Just hanging one up there, believes in his receiver. Keenan did a fantastic job there moving against the attempted poaches by Hillman. Hillman thought maybe he could take a few liberties. Keenan was like, no, you're going to have to respect me.
So second hold for Ranelagh, second dirty hold. Unable to get it without one turnover.
Without Murphy going and getting it back for him. As that's to Mead, captain of Clapham. Gets to Justin Ford and Ashley O. That's two previous captains. They're playing together. In and out, there in comes Mead. Ranelagh going with a zone look. They've got a lot of different defensive looks, a lot of different defensive setups. They like to have different D-lines with specific roles and tasks, as Ford's working with Abrams, and that's something that's been happening for a long time. Getting it across to Briggs. Briggs looks for Abrams. And then Abrams lays it through the middle and just past the outstretched Doyle. But they recover quite well. Stewart doing a good job of limiting how much further they can make it down the pitch. But Clapham happy to take their time and just typewriter this all the way down. So you can see Abrams and Long teaming up. And then there's the step through. Liam Fletcher picks it. They were looking for Yo. They didn't account for Fletcher, and that's a turn.
Sometimes that dribbling move there from Abrams, when you get in that flow, you just lock in on those open options, and when you throw it that fast, sometimes you don't see the poaches, and that's exactly what happened there. Great job from Ranelagh to adapt and get that D.
So that's McNulty through to Bogan Carey, and get it back to McNulty. Pierce trying to move, McNulty goes for the break across, and Ford was equal all the time to Keenan's cut. So now it goes to Abrams. Abrams gets it to Mead. Mead looking for Ford in the middle of the pitch, and Ford just throws it to Yo. Not quite in yet, but they are right on the doorstep. And jumping in for the score is that Ali? Oh no, it's going to go back. I apologize. Looked like Gordon had scored, but going to go back to Yo for now. And they get the goal.
So hold there. Ranelagh squanders their opportunity to get a break on Clapham. You see Ford, just such a tenacious player. That's the difference that I'm talking about here. Clapham's O-line, they don't turn it over that much, but when they turn it over, they have incredible defense, and I think that's a little bit of difference. Aside from Murphy, Ranelagh's defense not able to apply pressure, whereas Clapham's O-line defense providing a lot of pressure there against Ranelagh, not giving any easy options, and eventually Ford, the athlete that he is, just gets it through. Here you see the dribble move, just a little too quick on that one, as Liam Fletcher just poaches in for the block. And then the easy pop for the score to Gordon. So Clapham 5-2 up, giving a little bit of a chance to Ranelagh, but Ranelagh not able to capitalize.
We're going to see these sparks, and there's only so many opportunities that you're going to get against this Clapham side. You've got to punch them in when they come. Ranelagh need to limit the opportunities that they're giving to Clapham as well to continue pulling ahead of them. But they've shown they can get turns, they've shown they can get it back, and they've shown they can score. Now can they do it all cleaner? So 5-2, McHale. And a searing pull, soaring. Cochran underneath it. That's Feely in the middle of the pitch. Sneaking up behind to try and tempt him into going for that throw was Martin. And that one Martin almost gets a foot block. Rogers, Amal is on him. Rogers just uncorks when he's looking for Murphy. You would too if you played with him as much as Rogers does. 5-3.
Just an incredible throw by Rogers to Murphy. Two of the best players on this Ranelagh side connecting for that. Connor McHale is one of the best defenders in the game, and Murphy just completely roasts him and then reads the disc perfectly, makes sure McHale has no chance to get a D. Great, that's the best offense we've seen so far from Ranelagh.
The two-throw huck offense.
Two-throw huck offense, much better. I mean, dealing with that pressure and still being not hesitating. You said that's the key for them in this game. Don't hesitate, but execute, and this is exactly what they did here in this point. Look at this throw from Rogers.
So well set up as well by Murphy. We talk about how you always want to throw hucks across more than 1/3 of the pitch. That time, both the players are in the same third, but Rogers just hangs it up across the middle, gives Murphy plenty of time to pick his angle and attack. A respectful nod by McHale. Next time, his eyes say. So we see McNulty out there. Ranelagh bringing young players up through their ranks as well. Of course, they have Stewart, number 22. Just to the right of McNulty. A young man himself. The McNulty, of course, is only 16. And there's the as the lads chase it down. Briggs to Abrams. Abrams to Mead. Mead, lightning quick. Back to Abrams. Oh, and there's just a little bit of contact. Keenan. Keenan, a player who has really gone from strength to strength, I think, especially this season. Started out on, well, not started out, he's still primarily on their D-line, but you've seen him come on. He already has an assist in this game coming onto the O-line to help out, but he is such a tenacious player. Back to Abrams. Abrams, a legend of the game, throwing to another legend of the game in the form of Ford. Two players have been doing it at the highest level for so long.
A lot of legends on this Clapham side.
There really is, and a couple more looking to write their names in history too. Briggs, certainly on his way to doing that. He goes for the big arcing pass over the top. It's taken down by Abrams. And they're starting to find the gaps in this zone. Yo and Ford. Ford. He's got options on the very far side. He goes to the He's also gone after on the near side. Mead cuts into the middle of the pitch to collect it. And Clapham just taking their time, finding the open pass each and every time. And that one almost thrown past Mead, but he collects it. You can thank his reflexes for that. Ashley Yeo with Ford. Ford continues his move. Loves the throw and go. There's Swan Thompson just getting away from McNulty.
Horry.
Oh, sorry, Hero. That one's going to go back. McNulty recognized it, but a split second too late. Tried to charge forward and get the block and winds up getting caught in between the two of them. So Hero gets the disc and then has the easier throw to forward. It's going to go back on what I assume is a travel, catch and a turn afterwards. A lot of people do that. Everyone's always talking about how everyone drags their foot in a travel. Everybody catches and starts to turn as a travel.
Well, it's Katsu Hori, the nomadic tribe player, has been playing for Clapham for a little while now. He's been in London.
Mead.
And that's actually something that people accuse the Japanese of a lot, is that that turnaround travel.
As there goes Yo to Mead on the far sideline. Mead to Abrams, gets the quick pop right back. It goes to Abrams again. Abrams loves that give and go. And a tasty break, getting it around Stewart. And then Mead sending it all the way into the middle to Hero. Hero getting it across to Ford. Ford's just been waiting on that front corner. Yo pops it, and then they throw it over both of them to Abrams for a score.
Better stuff from the Ranelagh defense, I think, that point. They did cause a lot of pressure early on. There were some scuba dumps, really forcing a lot of passes, at least making it a little tougher for Clapham to score. It was a longer point. Didn't get the disc, but that's you have to at least make it difficult for your team and make them think about it more. And I think Clapham at least was thinking in that point. So a small win for Ranellagh's D-line there, even if they didn't get the break.
Every now and again there was inklings of a mistake. There was that moment where Abrams almost threw a pass, as you can see. Hero, that was just Ford, had to go back. I feel like Ford, after that moment, kind of just stood for a long time on that corner. Mead hitting Hero in the middle. They did start to solve it. The longer they played against that zone, the more comfortable they appeared to get. And watch this, they suck it in. So Ashley Yeo attacks the front corner, brings McNulty across and sucks Pierce out of the wing position, opening up a back corner shot to Abrams. That's just fantastic play by Yo, creating the space with his movement. Next level cutting is when you create space for other people to attack.
So 6-3, Clapham still up a few breaks here against Ranelagh. Just looking at our stat lines here, that was 29 passes that Clapham had to make for that point. So Ranelagh do force them into a lot more opportunities for a mistake. But Clapham just didn't give it to them.
They're going to have to get this Owen to have another shot at them on the defensive side. But do you think Ranelagh's starting to look more comfortable the longer this game goes on? Yeah,
definitely. They're rising to the moment. I think they weren't quite ready for it. But here, the offsides call. So Ranelagh will get to start on their brick mark.
They're going to make Modiano go all the way back.
I don't know. It's a brick mark.
Oh, fair. Well, he still has to go back. He was sprinting down looking for that Callahan. So it's going to be Feely starting from the brick. Flanked by Cochran. Rogers directly ahead of him. Ranelagh go with that standard split. Cochran and Feely just going to play it amongst each other. You can see Modiano and Rag are trying to limit their options and shut down that early pass play. Micklem gets it to Murphy on the near sideline. Murphy sees Tig. DV feeds him with a nice break around. McNamara makes a cut to the far sideline. Micklem hits the near one. DV doesn't want either of them. He sends it to Cochran instead. And then the swing straight back into the middle, and Feely was largely unmarked for a second. Rag was trying to poach into some lanes. Murphy back to Feely. And once again, he's just stepping around looking for that space at all times. Clapham switching at will, as is their nature. Murphy looking for Feely. A nice quick step by Feely gets him free. And Murphy, they're almost playing a little bit of a dominator set. McNamara now comes to get involved. Coming under as Clapham continue to just pass off responsibilities. And going for a shot straight through the middle, Feely. Deevy's trying to get himself available for it. Feely holsters it, understandably, back to Murphy. And then Feely again. Leads to McNamara in the front corner.
Does work out for Ranelagh. Clapham switching there, though, in that red zone defense. Really, really impressive. Forced Ranelagh into a lot of passes before they finally got that pop into McNamara. But Ranelagh rising up to the moment, like you said, playing a lot more comfortably here later on in this first half.
And that looked a lot more like the Ranelagh that people we're used to seeing. The kind of team who can recycle it as much as they want, and they have cutters come down and play quite important handler positions. You saw McNamara come out and get involved. You saw Murphy come out and get involved. I'm very comfortable doing so. Matthew Feely's doing a lot of the orchestrating.
The score here is 6-4, Lorcan, and Ranelagh is down a couple breaks, but people should remember that part of the reason Ranelagh made it to this final here against Clapham is because the first game of this tournament, the game was lightninged out that they played against CUSB. And they were down 7-5 in that game, and then got a hold and 2 breaks in a row to take the half 8-7. So against the team, I mean, I think CUSB and Clapham have very little between them. We saw them in that matchup yesterday. So Ranelagh should keep that in mind and realize, yes, we're down a couple breaks, but we've done this before against an equally strong team. But their defense has to find a way to get some breaks on Clapham. They've got a turn or two, but we'll see if they can actually manage to convert one.
They're going to need to put some pressure on the fairly unflappable Clapham O-line. Abrams hits Briggs. Stewart comes down. Briggs thinks about the huck a few times, or certainly looks like it. Every fake he throws is so dangerous. Ford sends it himself. He's looking deep once more. That's Yo. McNamara's trying to play D. And he gets him to bid a little early.
Yeah, he kind of sucks Yo in there. I mean, I think Yo had the right position, but he was just a little bit scared of McNamara being able to get high. McNamara didn't even really jump. It was just that suck in defense, as you can see here. Sails over both their heads. Yo, a player that can usually get up, but now Ranelagh with a chance. They got to work the full field, but they have Rogers crossed over. Typically later on in halves, he tends to do that a lot.
I think they recognized after they got the turn last time, they were struggling a little bit to just get the disc flowing. Once it's flowing, every Ranelagh player can be involved, but it's just that first push to get the offense into motion. Rogers picks it up. He has McNulty. McNulty gains a few extra yards, and McNulty lasers one up. He's looking for Bogan Carey. Wilson's chasing, but Carey's got that in oodles of space. Keenan makes a move in the end zone, but there's 4 Clapham players around. There's got to be an unmarked Ranelagh member somewhere. That still count keeps getting higher. Wilson patrolling, counting. They get it back to McNulty. McNulty thinking about a break, perhaps. He's certainly looking that way, and there goes Rogers. That's a nice little throw into the incoming Rogers, and there's the quick shot taken down by Rory Q.
And that's the break that they needed. As you said, Ferdy Rogers just needed to come on there to help initiate that play. Once it gets moving, the whole team can do it. As you see, the break rocket that they brought out here, one of the most fun teams here this tournament are Ranelagh. They're having a great time. They got that break. Like I said, they got the breaks against CUSB. Clapham isn't that much better. They got to feel themselves and be confident. They got to stay mentally in this game, and you can see they managed to get breaks. Here we see.
You want to talk about staying confident and mentality in this game.
And you see here Ford tries to poach in but doesn't really have a chance at that D, and that leaves that throw wide open. Sometimes you have to really remember in those situations, how good of a chance do I have to get that D? Because if not, I'll be totally out of position for the next throw. And I don't think Ford really had a shot at it. That was the mistake here on the Clapham defense.
That's a fantastic Blady leading pass. I was convinced that was going to end up in a turnover. You can see Rogers just powering through the contact. I don't care. I can see Kyo. I'm hitting him. But just to talk a little bit about McNulty there, he had the shot down to Bogan Carey. And he's coming out again on this D-line. That's a real testament to the work they've done on their mentality. It's one thing if you see Rogers, Murphy, people who have got a lot of experience. They both played in the AUDL. They played at this upper echelon before. But McNulty is someone who's coming up through the junior ranks, the Irish junior teams, playing on this Ranelagh side. And he is ready for this moment too, it seems. Big time pull from Captain Stephen Jones. Man who has battled back from injury, is the real heart and soul of this squad out there on the pitch. Briggs being marked by Stewart. Stewart likes taking the difficult handler assignments. He did a fantastic job on Ben Yonkers in their quarterfinal. Briggs launching one up. It's arcing. It's going the wrong direction. If it stays in bounds, can Wilson get it? What a catch!
But was he in?
That was absolutely bananas. B-A-N-A-N.
Let's see.
Yes.
I think it might have been in. I think his toe might have hit the inbounds, but it's hard for me to see from this angle.
I think it was awfully close. Ranelagh seemed to be giving it as a score, so that's going to count as a score. What an incredible catch by Wilson.
Easily catch of the tournament for me so far, Lorcan, as Wilson, such an incredible athlete. And you see there again, the same thing happened as earlier in this game. Ranelagh is playing that forced middle, and you see earlier in that point they were forcing Briggs' backhand, which is something a lot of teams do because Briggs has such a powerful flick. When that force changed to flick, Briggs saw that opportunity immediately and then was able to put it around. So if I was Ranelagh, I'm not sure I would stick with that forced middle. It's bit them twice so far.
Clapham are so good at making those in-the-moment adjustments. As we saw Bogan Carey just going off. So that's exactly what Ravi is talking about. You can see they switched the force. Briggs opens up. I mean, come on. At a certain point, like, you've just got to put up your hands and go, I guess. I guess you're allowed to score like that, Wilson. It's Conrad Wilson.
So 7-5 the score here. And as we said, Ranelagh has been in this situation before. This is exactly the scoreline they had against Cuzb in the first game of this tournament. So last time they got the hold in 2 breaks in a row to take half. We'll see if they can manage to do that. First is going to be the hold as we see Ranelagh's traditional O-line come out there.
And they're going to be battling. Lots of chatter along the sidelines about that incredible catch. But the game has got plenty left in it as we're going to keep going. Cochran gets it to Feely. Ranelagh coming out in a bit more of a traditional looking zone this time. Almost looking like an arrowhead. And Feely is going to work with Cochran. Cochran back to Feely. Feely just letting Hillman know, yeah, just step off a little bit there. Dumps it back to Cochran. And again to Feely. It's just a lot of cycling between the two of them. They can't really find a cutter downfield. Doesn't want the shot to McNamara. Instead takes a searing break all the way into the middle to Deavy. Deavy spreads it to Rogers on the far sideline. And Deavy makes another move. He's putting in a shift against Butt right now. Cochran's trying to get free. There's the quick pop-up. A couple of Clapham defenders follow, but Cochran's able to stay strong, get the disc. He wants that leading pass. Rogers had already turned to face that direction. Just shows you how well they know each other. How well drilled this O-line is for Ranelagh. Murphy, middle of the pitch. A comfortable catch, leading to Deavy. That's the flow that they're always looking for. Gets it to Feely in the middle of the pitch. So Clapham, their offense looking steadier. Cross to Rogers. Thinking about the break. And Lightning's a quick break into Deavy for the score, 7-6.
What a throw from Rogers. You saw the mark was basically flat, completely trying to block off that inside-out throw. Rogers just doesn't care.
That's the second layout assist he's gotten in this game.
The 7-6, that's the hold they needed, and they need to find a way to see if they can bring this to Galaxy Point. They got the break last time. We'll see if they can answer. Look, here you see Rogers, look. That's such a big mark. A little bit of a shimmy and then completely leaning over on the pivot to get that inside-out throw to Deavy.
That's the flamenco shimmy when you do it while you're on one foot. A lot of people then plant their other foot. Not Rogers.
Definitely has some flexibility there on this. That man must do a little bit of yoga or something to be able to do that.
I think it's just stubbornness. So Ranelagh finding themselves, finding each other in the end zone. And another flawless hold. I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat who's joining us, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And we're going to give you 3 top quality games of Ultimate here in the European Finals. It's been a long 2022 season. A lot with Worlds. Some junior campaigns. A couple of elite invites as well as the standard affair of competitions as Abrams collects it. Puts it back into the middle and back from Long. Looking to send it to Ford down the line. Ford, marked by Keogh. Ford floats that one up for Long. Fletcher might be able to sneak in, get a second D of the game. No, Long stays strong. And back into the middle to Yo. Yo. Barely stopping his movement to get that throw off back to Briggs. And across again to Long. Abrams. So Clapham cycling it back and forth, waiting for an opportunity to appear downfield. Long. He's now looking for Ollie Gordon, marked by Keenan. Sets it up again to Briggs. And McNulty gets broken down to Yo on the near sideline. He has Abrams, doesn't want to send it to him quite yet. Gives it back to Briggs. Briggs will have no such reservations if the shot is on. Across to Wilson. And there's McNulty. He peels off from Briggs and gets the interception. He's just waiting for somebody to get free for him.
Yeah, but he had no mark. He had no rush.
McCreary, you want to talk about not rushing? Launches it, gets it over the top, and Bogan Carey gets a score.
And here,
7-7.
Here we are at Galaxy Point, Lorcan. Ranelagh, you got to give it to them about their heart and their confidence. They went down 2 breaks in the first 2 points of this game, Lorcan, against Clapham. That's a tough place to be in mentally, but they did not give up. They did not falter. They did not lose their confidence. They did not hesitate. And there you see the break rocket again. Amazing stuff here.
So this is going to be McNulty. He's only 16, people.
That's incredible stuff.
Great heads-up play. Recognized what was happening, turned around, peeled off. He was a real leader for the Irish junior team in 2019.
I heard a fire call right before that D, so I think that Ranelagh was in a bit more of a poachy set or maybe in a forced middle, and they were alternating back to strict person-to-person at that moment. Here we're going to see the huck from McCreary, and just perfectly placed right above Abrams.
McCreary's been fabulous all tournament long from Ranelagh. He's been leading their D-line offense. He's had some huge hucks. He's got some great defensive blocks, and as well as that, he's frequently one of those players that they bring across to the O-line when they need a bit of steadying after a couple of mistakes. We saw it earlier in this game as well. So Ranelagh tie back up at 7s. They did start on offense though, so they need one more break to resume serve in this matchup. We'll see can they get it when we return after these short messages.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
So what's smaller than the universe but could be damn near as definitive in this matchup? That's right, everybody at home, it's Galaxy Point.
7-7, as you said before the break. Ranelagh did start on O, so right now Clapham is still up 1 break, and if they can get this score, they'll get the advantage of starting on offense in the second half. But Ranelagh with a bit of more momentum on their side, Lorcan, it has to be said. They went down 2 breaks early, but since then, their offense is cleaned up, their defense has gotten the chances they've needed, and their D-line offense has improved tremendously. So we'll see. Can Clapham respond to that break, or can Ranelagh bring it to half?
Mead to Abrams. Abrams to Hillman. Hillman, I believe he's the D-line captain for Clapham, joining him on the O-line. Taking a page out of Ranelagh's book, perhaps, gets it across to Ford. Ford on the far sideline. Wants to send it inside to Yo. Does so eventually. McNamara's trying to inch him out. It's a difficult task. Yo is an incredibly fit player, and he seems to be taking this one personally. There's the switch from Murphy. Yo fakes the big shot downfield. Mead was making the move, gets it to Ford inside instead. Ford passes to Abrams. Abrams looks at the quick pop back to Ford. Ford now shoots it to the end zone. It's comfortable, it's floating, and McHale's just going to take his time. 8-7.
A few shift overs from the D-line there. McHale there as well. But Clapham realizing, they got to use their whole team if they want to win this one. And Clapham will go into half with that break lead and will be starting on offense with that slight advantage.
So it's a slight advantage, but it's one that we've seen Ranelagh claw back before. They'll be disappointed not be able to get that last break, but it just seemed like Yo had a certain kind of intention about him, the way he was moving. And then you see Ford, Abrams, Ford. I mean, that's a triangle that's been drawn thousands of times, and look at the weight on that. So much spin.
Visionary.
McHale, I think he was like, oh, I'm going to showboat a little. Then he went, actually, it's the final, and it's pretty close. I won't. And he kind of just stopped. So great catch, great play so far. Brilliant stuff from both sides. I mean, when it went 2-0 down, I'm sure there was a lot of people who started counting some chickens, but they haven't quite hatched yet. So we will be back to see what happens in what promises to be a tantalizing and sensational second half here in the open final of EUCF 2022.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back, everybody joining us from the comfort of their own homes on a beautiful Sunday morning. We're here in Caorle and we're having a great time. Stephen Jones putting up a big hug. We want to give a special shout out to all the fans watching at home, especially Kiana, Ranellagh's biggest fan. We're going to need you to send those positive vibes if you want to see the Dubliners battle their way back in. Horty. Back across to Abrams. Mead. Well shut down by McNulty on the force, stopping that break. Horty. A nomadic tribe. He's travelled all the way from Japan to play with Clapham, and he's been quite impressive.
You see Ranelagh coming out again with that force middle. It's bitten them a couple times, but they have gotten the turns off of it.
We'll see if they can hit it. When you see Yo going deep with that much speed, it is an intimidating prospect. So is Ollie Gordon. He's been doing this for years. Buckencarry can't quite close the gap, and it's going to be OG with the score. Nice.
Yeah, they had the force middle there up until half field, and they went to force backhand, and Ollie Gordon just timed that cut perfectly off the power position, and nothing really that Ranelagh could do to stop that one.
Something he's been doing for a very long time, and he's very, very good at it. Timing beats speed. Accuracy beats power. James Mead, one of the most accurate. Ollie Gordon, like clockwork.
To be fair, Ollie Gordon has quite some speed as well.
I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, you can't just have timing. Yes. So Clapham, would you describe that as comfortable?
Yes, very comfortable. Again, there have been Ranellagh's D-line has been in and out of like putting pressure, getting that poach block, or just letting Clapham have a very easy point. This is one of the points where it was just pretty easy for him.
So Clapham, 2 points to the good, and cashing in the break they got in the first half. It's a crucial thing. You see some teams just let that opportunity go for the O on the opposite side. As there's some quick nearby sideline tactics being discussed, showing you there's plenty of game left to go and neither team is taking this for granted. Far from a foregone conclusion. There's the big hook. Ranelagh's O-line. Cochran underneath it. Feely searching, finds Cochran. Back to Feely, the two of them have been passing it in the backfield quite a lot. McNamara couldn't get that pass out Feely quick as he wanted, but gets it to Deavy back in the middle. That's good work by the Ranelagh handlers as they are spreading apart that zone. They get through it for some quick and easy gaps. That's Micklem. Feely's trying to make a move from trying to go down the line. And Micklem unfortunately misreads what's going on, just throws it. Waiting there for it was Felix Martin, and now Clapham have a chance for another break. Funk, Swan Thompson gets it down the line, and Martin again with the disc. He got the block, he sends it into McHale in the middle. McHale's breaks have been lethal so far in this game. Been a big part of this Clapham D-line offense. There's a leading pass, Montiano, what a grab. Snatching that one out of the sky, and there's McHale shooting to the end zone. Funk is free for the score.
Micklem, a player that I don't think was in most of the first half, at least we didn't say his name too much, just there. And Aaron Scuber, I think it must have been a miscommunication or something because he threw it directly to a Clapham player. And then Clapham, well, again, once their defense gets that disc, it's so hard to get it back off of them. So they extend their lead to 10-7 with a break there.
I think Micklem expected Feely to bounce back after tearing up the line. Instead, Felix Martin recognized what was going on, stepped in himself and got the D.
And we all know in Europe, Lorcan, that there's the Clapham effect of the second half, that a lot of teams can hang with them for one half. but the depth of Clapham and their intelligence to figure out what the other team is doing often allows them to take things away and then extend out for the first half. In the second half, even if the first half looks close, the second half they end up pulling away. They've started off that way, as we see the huck here from Caorle to Funk. They started off that way, but to be fair, they did start off that way in the first half, and Ranelagh came back with it, so we'll see if Ranelagh can answer.
Well, if their sideline is anything to say about it, they're going to come back with some noise, with some fury. Try and claw their way back into this matchup. That was a fantastic throw to Funk. Almost criminally free in the back of that end zone.
And again, speaks to the depth that Clapham has. I think most teams in Europe, if they had a player like Caorle, he'd be one of their starting O-line players, but Clapham able to put him on D. Of course, he's extremely athletic and great on defense as well, but typically you won't be able to afford to have a thrower like that not on your O-line, whereas Clapham has such a tremendous depth of talent that they can do that.
It's become a real feature of this Clapham squad. Cochran collects, screaming down there is the always intimidating figure of Nathan Ragg. And there's the quick bounce back. Eels almost snuck in and got another D for himself. That one goes to DV on the far sideline. DV, this shot is going to hang. Bogan Carey's underneath it. It's going to be a contest, and Alcock can only watch as Bogan Carey takes a score. And almost curiously, is that, I'm in? I think I'm in.
Still some discussion here on the field.
Alcock is no shrinking violet in the sky and can get big, but you can't teach tall.
No, it was a great read and great height there. But still discussion. See if Bogan Carey was in the end zone or not. Here we'll see the replay. Check on that line. Here's the jump. And that's not in.
So they come to us. That's you can request our opinion as long as it doesn't delay the game. And then we're just like any impartial person on the sideline. I think everyone can agree. We're pretty impartial. As Bogan Carey looking for Rogers in the end zone. He's putting in work against Almala, but Bogan Carey finds Cochran, who chases up and then crawls down. Ranelagh are very much still in this, mentally speaking.
10-8 the score. They still have a little bit of a hole to claw their way out of, but playing with that confidence, putting up that huck without hesitation, it's what they've done all game, and it's what they're going to need to do if they want to try and take this victory. Won't be an easy job for them.
It's what they've done all year. And so Tag TV underthrew the first time he got it in this final, but does not allow that second guessing, that hesitation come into his game. Sees Bogan Carey. That's a big target, but I mean, Josh Alcock, like I said, very, very impressive defender.
Yeah, here we're going to see that reception again. Alcock gets decent position, but Bogan Carey just goes up a little bit higher and a little bit later and times it just a little bit better. Comes down with that reception.
Yeah. And then the patience, not throwing it away in this situation. Rogers was working like a madman. Amal was doing a great job shutting him out, but Cochran's just sprinting the whole way down the pitch for that pop in and to get the score. So many times you see someone make that fantastic grab and then squander it right in the end zone line.
So McNulty to pull, the 16-year-old for Ranelagh.
And Long is going to pick this up. Immediately pop it to Mead. Mead and Long get a little bit of give-go action. Mead working with Wilson now on the far sideline. Wilson sees Abrams, sends it back into him in the middle of the pitch. Abrams marked by McCreary. Oh, it looked like McNulty was going to try and poach off and get another block for himself. Long pops it across to Ford. Ford marked by Keenan. Ford searching, gets Briggs in the middle of the pitch. So no major gainers right now. Ranelagh doing a good job of limiting downfield options, but we see Clapham turn a recycle into a lethal offense so many times in a row. Wilson, far sideline. Looking for somebody, goes down the line with a big hook. McNulty's having to chase McCreary. He's also closing the gap. There's a lot of people underneath it. Big chance. And McNulty gets his second D of the game. Hits McCreary. McCreary feeds it back to McNulty. McNulty watching. He doesn't like to throw to Fletcher in the middle of the park. And again, there's the turn of the shoulder. Wilson's desperately trying to chase it down. That just shows how well drilled they are. They throw it as soon as the step is taken, knowing where that their other handler is going to go. Fletcher, he has Keenan, decides against sending it to him, but he pulls two defenders deep, which opens up Stewart underneath. decides against it again. McNulty is shimmying, shaking. Wilson was peeking in there, maybe looking for a poach himself. McCreary, that's a perfectly weighted throw. Keenan's going to chase it down for the break. 10-9.
Wow. Darren McNulty is having himself a game. Defensive player of the game so far, both with his pulls and with his Ds. An incredible performance from the young lad.
He's doing very, very well, but he is flanked by a team that is all there in spirit. Keenan shoots the break rocket. Oh, they're actually starting to get a bit of hacky sack going. That would intimidate me if I was Clapham. When they get more than 3 hacky sacks off the break rocket, they generally get another break.
How many did they get here?
That was about 4 hacky sacks.
That was about 4 hacky sacks.
5, so
all right, all right.
The tide may be turning.
The 10-9, this game's still really close. Look at this. Everybody goes up too early except for McNulty. He's the only one who reads that disc properly in the pack of players. And then here the throw.
McCreary,
perfect throw.
On a string for Keenan. And McCreary has been fantastic for Ranelagh as well this whole tournament. He's been swapped over to the O-line a few times when they've needed a steadying presence. And by steadying presence, I mean man who's able to just put perfect flick hooks.
And he's got Yo on him, so if you float that up too much, I think Yo's going to win that battle in the air. I mean, for sure, Shane Keenan's a good player, but if it's a one-on-one floaty disc in the air, I think Yo's going to come down with that. But the perfect throw from McCreary gives Yo no chance whatsoever.
So 10-9. Ranelagh get a break back, but it is the break they gave up in this second half, so they've still got a few to go if they want to take the lead in this matchup. Hillman to Gordon. Gordon back inside to McHale. McHale once again coming over to the O-line. Like you said, most teams would just have to have him as a key handler on the O-line. Clapham as a luxury, but you can see how much pressure they're under that they're bringing him on now. Briggs sees Ford, sends it. There's a pick called downfield. So Ford being marked by Stephen Jones. Any code breakers out there? Ranelagh are currently shouting 4. Ford to McHale. McHale. Arcing that throw around to Briggs. Briggs is forced to go to dirt to get it, but he does so with aplomb. Yo gets the quick pop to McHale. McHale across to Mead. That one came out just a little bit fluttery. Maybe rushing themselves. Oh, the drop knee, the amazing grab! Hillman! What a snag!
That's the second time this sort of second string Clapham O-line comes out and just plays incredibly. Ranelagh did a good job earlier on that point of shutting down the downfield options, but Clapham's reset game is just so great that they can keep, even if you shut everything down for a couple cuts, they'll just keep getting comfortable resets and then eventually things are going to open up. They did so just there.
I like the drop as we have a look at Briggs going to dirt to get that one and keep the offense clean for Clapham. A little bit fluttery by McHale on the lefty backhand. Might have slightly rushed it. Now watch this for the swag. Drop knee, flick break. Harlow Rogers, and what a grab by Hillman. Full extension, and that was it. If he didn't get it in that minuscule moment, that was a tiny window. And he latched onto it.
So Clapham hold on to their lead 11-9. Ranelagh still on the back foot, but staying in this game.
So Rogers has had 2 layout assists. Mead now has a proposal assist, drop into that knee. What a catch.
And I was watching his pivot foot. I thought he might have had to drag that, but he actually kept his pivot foot down pretty solidly throughout that whole motion.
So 11-9 on offensive hold. The depth of Clapham coming to the fore, and you've spoke about this already, Ravi, that second half Clapham surge. They are synonymous with it. We'll see how Ranelagh respond. McHale goes for another big pull. He likes hanging him up there and then watching them drift in. Is that one going to land inbounds? Perhaps a little bit too much.
I think that one went out quite early. I don't know if it crossed back into the field and then crossed back out or not. But I think I did see Rogers motion for the brick, so I think it might have come in and then got out.
It's a little bit of conversation we're having about how strictly Ranelagh were adhering to the pole rule and who's allowed to pass the disc off to the person who's going to be taking the disc from the brick position. So I think that time it's been cleared up. Rogers picks it up, walks it all the way. Marked by Hillman. Martin kind of creeping in there as well. Deavy makes that standard Ranelagh cut right in front of the handler. Bogan Carey. And there's Murphy. He's going to be there. It's floating for him. He's going to have to do something spectacular.
Was he in?
Remains to be seen. I think it might have to come back.
On what?
Perhaps come back to us.
Everybody crowding around the replay screen.
So there's both.
Take a look here.
Looking for that back corner. Chasing. Chasing. Please don't get in the way.
Okay. There's the catch, and the foot is in.
The foot is in. The thigh might be on the line.
They want one more replay before deciding this one.
Yeah, I can't comment on that. I want that to be in too much. So we're going to go instead to Sean Culfer, European Editor-in-Chief for ULTI World.
That looks into me.
You heard it from Sean.
It also looked into me, I think just in, but I think it was in.
And
they're calling it a goal.
Something spectacular from the Smurf. Indeed, well, he's playing like a big man right now. Sam Murphy leading his team out here. He got 2 huge blocks for them early in the game. He's after picking up a big time score right there, saving the blushes of Bogan Kerry. That's a deep hug from Tig. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a bad throw. That was a bad throw, Larkin. I don't think there's any other way to say that. It was a good look. It was a good option. Bad throw.
Right call.
But having,
release.
I guess maybe it's a good throw if you got Murphy as your receiver here.
Stevie, and that's standard Ranelagh offensive flow, zigzagging down the pitch. Let's just enjoy this. Cash. That was Neil McCullough who was chasing it down. So, 10-11. And I imagine there's a decent measure of people who are currently enjoying their own words for breakfast right now, as this has been a tight and intense affair the entire way through. Ranelagh still need 2 breaks.
Just taking a check at the YouTube chat. Everyone there seems to also say that it was in.
Great to hear them agree with us. So Stephen Jones with another big pull. That one's going to hang up. If it lands in bounds, it's going to put Abrams under a lot of pressure. McCreary is speeding down there. Abrams gets it to Mead. Mead back to Abrams. Abrams' give-go play has been so good this game so far. One early turn, but apart from that, largely flawless. Horry working with Mead. Mead across to a Ford in the middle. Ford looking for Briggs. Stewart tries to come in there. Briggs lays that one out smoothly for Yo, and Yo has just been going from strength to strength as well, I think, in this game. His determination carrying him. Ford. Stephen Jones closes that break opportunity. Ford still looking for Ollie Gordon. Fletcher's doing a great job shutting down the up the line. Instead he goes back to Mead. Mead feeds it out. Across to the other side of the pitch, and Horry waiting for it. Back to Mead. And they're swinging. This is what you're talking about, Ravi. They're so confident in their dumps, and Ford throws Jones to the ground. Now it's Yo in front of the end zone. They're just cycling, hitting those sidelines for small gainers, and then going back. Ford across to Mead. Horry makes the move. Mead finds him. Looks to the corner for Gordon. Doesn't want it. Mead goes up the line, but Ford comes back. And it's just across all the way. Yo once again free on that sideline. He spent the whole point there, and they get the shot in to Horry. That was fundamentally flawless offense.
I mean, as you said, it was pretty much all throws to other handler people in handler spaces. Ranelagh they're choosing something. They're choosing to take away the unders and a bit on the deeps to make sure that there's no option on the cutters. But that means they have to give up a little bit on the resets, and Clapham just look comfortable with that. I mean, a lot of teams that might fluster you, oh no, we cannot get our throws up to the cutters that we want. Clapham just able to just swing it around, pass after pass after pass, and eventually just notch in the goal. I do like that. I think it increases your chances of a turn, but sometimes Clapham's just going to power through it.
Something that we've been told by our statistician extraordinaire, as well as just a top quality ultimate mind, Hannah Pendlebury, is it just seems like every time they make him throw more passes, that's when the turnover comes. And I think Ranelagh have noticed that themselves, trying to bring it on. But look, Briggs, Horry, Yo even finishing it with a break kind of epitomizes just how technically skilled they are. Yo's probably the most associated with physical gifts and the ability to tear it down on deep shots out of the people on that line, and he's the one who was kept getting free on that on this near sideline to us, and then throws a break for the assist. So versatile, so deadly, but it's still a close game. 12-10. Caorle with the disc. This is a strong Clapham D-line, looking to extend their lead just a little bit further. You also see, I think, Duncan Webster take to the field for the first time in this matchup. Feely centers to Rogers. Rogers across to Cochran. Cochran launches one deep. He's looking for Davy. Davy's chasing it down on McHale, and that was absolutely perfect. Ranelagh feeling themselves. 12-11.
That was some easy offense from Ranelagh, just taking the shot when it's there. McHale just out of position on that deep cut. Very frustrated with himself there. And Ranelagh looking good. They got that hold, but they're going to have to play pretty perfect offense and get a couple breaks to win this game. That's a tall order, but they're staying in it.
The heavy lifting remains ahead of them, but they're certainly equal to the 0 points. And this is something that Ranelagh have struggled with all season long, is against some of the bigger opponents, stumbling out of the blocks and then picking up pace just in time to almost catch up with them at the end of the game. They need to step up now, like they did against Cusp. Would you like to see them maybe change their defensive structure?
Like I said, I think it's gotten them to turns, this forced middle, but I think it's also biting them. I think they should change it up. I think they maybe should try putting a little more pressure on the resets, putting some of their best defenders on the handlers, just to at least, right now Clapham's getting comfortable in that way. Try and just throw something a little different, put more pressure on the handlers and maybe give a little bit up more on the cutters. See if it works. If it doesn't, you have still some opportunities to bring it back if you want to.
3 specifically. You can only give up 2 of them. Is that one? And Abrams calls it early. Yeah, that's going out. He's going to walk that up to the brick mark. And it does seem to be a rather handler-heavy offensive line the Clapham are putting out there. They've got Mead, Ford. I guess Ford's more of a cutter, but you know, just so versatile. Everything he does. Yo, traditionally very much a cutter along with Ollie Gordon, but Yo's throws have been fantastic all tournament long, and he's really shown he's great on both sides of the disc. And then also flank Alexis Long, and then Briggs starting off in the cutting position in the middle. He's immediately going deep to clear out that space. They look for Ford on the sideline. Ford marked by Rogers. Rogers a very aggressive handler mark. Saw him have a great battle against Mueller last year in the quarterfinal. That one floats too high over him, and McNamara gets his second D on Yo in the game. Really thought he was going to lash that one. Gets to Sam Murphy instead down the line. Murphy sends it to the end zone. He's looking for Keenan. He finds him!
We got a tied game here, Lorcan. 12-12. That's the break. And again, I think Clapham, you said they had a very handler-heavy line. I think that's because they were adapting to what Ranelagh was doing. They saw, okay, our cutters aren't really doing it, so we need to have everybody comfortable in the handler space. And there, I don't know, just a missed throw over the heads, and McNamara was able to read it perfectly and get the D. Yeah, we got a tie game here at 12s, Lorcan. Amazing stuff here at the EUCF 2022 final, as Clapham looking a little dejected. Body language not what you normally see out of them in the second half.
Sam Murphy was able to get that one down the line. That was from a few points ago. This is a Sam Murphy highlights package. That was him getting a layout D. It was the first D Ranelagh got of the game, and honestly it was the moment where I think a lot of people watching at home went, yeah, Ranelagh are able to play at this level. They're just stumbling a little to start. This was the huge catch that he got on McHale. There's a fantastic throw from Rogers, but great intuition between the two of them. They understand what they're going to be doing. This is Davy to Bogan Carey, and I think we all know what happens next.
You see Rogers back out there. I think it's the first time he's gone out for 2 D points in a row. I'm not sure he's going to come off for the rest of this game.
Hillman, oh, he throws McNulty to the floor, still searching. I guess that one just ever so slightly around. Stewart tries to peel off, great switch. Murphy has to run downfield. Gets it back to Yo. McHale skies that one, it's over Ollie Gordon. Davies underneath it, and a critical error again. That's 2 overthrows. Ford trying to get in there and just runs straight through the back of McNamara.
Wow.
Causing him to pirouette.
I think see smiles on McNamara and Ford kicking up. That's a big boy. I hope that he's all right. A little bit shaken, but a little bit of bang-bang play there from Ford. Anyways, here, Lorcan 12-12. Ranelagh with a chance to break and take their first lead of the game here.
Yeah, It's a big moment. Are they equal to it? It remains to be seen. Rogers gets it to Keenan. Keenan has been fantastic all match long, and he puts up rather floaty pass. Tyke Deavy's trying to react to it. So's McNamara. And Deavy collects it after the bounce. That's a big time score. It doesn't matter how they come. It just matters you put them on the board. 13-12 to Ranelagh. Their first lead of the game.
And you saw Deavy reading that play well. He knew he couldn't get involved on the first catch. He was there in case it was tipped off. He was ready to pick up the garbage. That was actually great presence of mind from Deavy, positioning himself well. Wasn't the best throw. Wasn't a good throw at all. But Deavy did a great job there to make sure that he got that disc. And now Ranelagh surprising everybody with a 13-12 lead over Clapham after being down 2-0 to start this game. Here we can see the throw from Keenan. Really high, really floaty. And look at watch Deavy, watch 24. Position well, read the play perfectly. Off the tip, catch for the score.
So Ranelagh have had a chant. They quite famously went 0-10 on stream following their quarterfinal victory over Bad Skid last year at EUCF. They finally rectified that. Maybe quite a big deal that the Mooncatchers game was moved off stream, and instead it was Heidi's against Wall City in another quarterfinal. So they were able to have probably one of their most impressive performances of the senior season against Mooncatchers. As both teams go for a timeout, and now they're singing they can play on stream, but they've got a lot more playing left to do. It's going to be perhaps the longest 4 or 5 points of their entire careers. Well, where else would you want to be? We'll be right back. Welcome back. Where would you go? The sun is rising. And is it the dawn of a new era? It remains to be seen as Dublin taking on Clapham from London. That's Ranelagh. The Ranelagh lads are running strong. Heads up, first lead of the match, 13-12. They've had some incredibly impressive performances by the young guns. One of the key players amongst them is McNulty. And Ranelagh respond with an offside call of their own. I love it.
So just want to say, Lorcan, that was a timeout by Clapham. They just got broken twice in a row. Some philosophy on timeouts is, does the timeout help your team more than it helps the other team? Ranelagh is a team that needs to cross over Ferdia, needs to cross over Deavy, needs to cross over players to win the rest of this game. And Clapham, if they really believe in themselves, I think they should have not called that timeout, because I think it does favor the shallower team in Ranelagh late in this game.
Dowd is a stranger to the Londoners. Maybe they didn't recognize him when he arrived mere moments ago. Can Dublin continue to press their advantage? Ranelagh. That's Hillman with the disc. Just about gets around Murphy. Big bid by Deavy on Gordon. Sends it into Mead again in the middle. Mead thinks about the deep shot, decides against it. Instead looks to lead Ford. Ford gets into power position. Yo seemed to be making motions towards the deep cut, decided against it himself. Hillman back to Ford. Ford might just take it all on from here. Every second pass gets it to Gordon in the backfield. Gordon, middle of the pitch, searching. Gordon across to Mead. Mead sends it back in to McHale. McHale making his regular appearances on the O-line, it seems now, as things get very tight and intense for Clapham. McHale has the disc back, marked by Keenan. McHale goes for the break. It's going to be tough. It hits the dirt right in front of Gordon. He's broken players at will all game long, but that time it just seemed to snap for him.
Just put a little bit too much edge on that throw, forced it a little bit. You can see Ronald's pressure on defense rising, rising, rising as this game moves on to the end.
Rogers, disc in hand, gets it back to McNulty. McNulty is looking for Stewart right in front of him. Stewart's going to have to chase that one down. He does so. It's got plenty of float. He was never worried. And there's Murphy, that talismanic leader. Unbent and unbowed. And right now looking to put a 2-point advantage and get themselves 1 point away from a European title.
And you see here, we got Murphy, we got Rogers, we got DV, we got so many of the Ranelagh stars out there. That's what I'm saying. This timeout maybe helped. Those players might have come off. They just played 3 points in a row. With that timeout, they're able to bring those players back, and this gives them a much better chance to get this break here to take a 2-point lead.
Rogers. Trying to flip it. And he's forced to put up a massive blade. The only person really near it was McHale. And there's a stall out called by Ford.
He did have the disc in his hand for quite a long time.
I think looking for Keenan at the back of the end zone. So you have another look.
There you see that.
So much pressure on the shoulders, and there's McHale just underthrowing Gordon ever so slightly on the break. It was a tough flick break. So Clapham get another look at this on their offense.
That's a squandered opportunity, Lorcan. If Ranelagh punched that in, they were very, very close to a championship right now. Giving Clapham that chance, they were just completely clustered. The reset game not working out for them in that possession.
For the record, that was Ranelagh's first turnover by their D-line. Hillman. Mead. Pops it into the middle to Briggs. Briggs has Yo, decides against it. Keenan was creeping on the back shoulder, gets it to Gordon instead, and Clapham just looking for these dump resets for now. They have turned over on 2 overthrows and 1 underthrow on the dump resets in the last few points. It's not been a great final third for them, and that's where they normally do their damage. Mead gets it. Gordon powering himself under the auspices of DV, and now Ford down the line. Yo, he's right in front of the end zone. This has been that calm, casual play that Clapham do oh so well. The break back to Ford. Ford puts it out for Mead, middle of the pitch, and Mead scoops that one and sends it right to the feet of Hillman. Would you call that an unforced error?
This is definitely an unforced error. He was completely unmarked and a throw to a completely wide open player that he threw into the turf. Yes, I think that's the textbook definition of an unforced error.
And that's the insight that Ravi brings, and that's why he's here in the booth. I just wandered over. So Rogers, disc in hand, Keenan goes deep. Oh, there's a call. It's going to be a pick downfield. Rogers centered it to McNulty. I think he's going to be allowed to hold on to it. This didn't really affect. Hillman was trying to peel over into the middle of the pitch. So McNulty's going to tap this one back in. Lots of cramped space in front of him. He goes to Rogers on the far sideline. Rogers, Murphy makes a move into the middle. Gives it back to McNulty. Stewart's there. Mead is speeding all the while. I think Mead was laying a trap there, hoping to get a D to make up for his turnover. Instead, they go to DV. Mead is doing a fantastic job on Stewart in the downfield. Keenan gets free on the under from Briggs. Pops it into McNamara in the middle. McNamara back across to Murphy. Murphy to McNamara. McNamara through the middle to Stewart. That's Louis Stewart. He shoots for the end zone. He's trying to find DV. There's not going to be enough float, or is there?
Can't make the same play twice, Lorcan. This time too far out of the reaches of DV. And Ranelagh give Clapham another chance.
In a lot of their offensive structures, DV and Murphy are largely interchangeable, playing the same role. But in the role of trying to rescue speculative pass to the back corner of the end zone,
Murphy the better this game.
There was more float on the Murphy one, in fairness, but Ranelagh getting so close. It's tantalizing, it's tingling. Let us know, everybody who's watching in the chat, how are you feeling? Who do you feel has this game? There's action on every inch. McHale. Gordon. Searching for Yo, finds him. Back to McHale. And Yo has been tireless, working those unders and getting the quick pops back. Ford, just getting on a bit of a step ladder. Casual athleticism, he puts up a big floaty one. McNamara on Yo, McHale's coming to help. And Yo, masterfully done, shepherds McNamara towards the sideline before turning back in for the score.
That was a great, great possession there by Yo. Running that down, he had steps, but the disc was floaty enough for McNamara to get in there. Yo just positions perfectly, boxes him out, goes up strong, as we've seen him do so many times over his successful, illustrious career. 13-13, the score here. We got maybe 2 or 3 points left here in this game. It's a tight one, down the stretch. And we'll see, can Clapham rise to the occasion? Can Ranelagh hold on to this momentum that they have here? They got 2 turns in that last point. And we see Ranelagh here do call the timeout, I believe, to rest up those players that have been in there 3 points in a row, make sure they can get back out there on offense. So I think we'll take another quick break ourselves. We'll be back here at the conclusion of this game in just a moment.
And we are back in action. The hearts are palpable. You'd be forgiven for thinking you are at a Wall City organized techno party right now, the way those beats are reverberating through the floor. Can you feel the bass as it echoes across Europe? History is calling for these two sides. Ranelagh looking to retain. Clapham obviously looking to retain. Ranelagh looking to break through and pick up the first European title.
We see here Justin Ford coming out, crossing over onto D for the first time. Clapham realizing it's business time, bringing out their stars. Not a lot of time left here in this game. Ranelagh is going to probably keep most of the same players out the rest of this match as well. Here it goes, 13-13, game to 15.
It's certainly business time right now, so they got to pull up their business socks. Caorle. Cross to Rogers. Caorle makes a move in the end zone. Rogers gets it back to him. Rogers on that front corner, an unenviable position. But it takes a lot of goal to be ready for this. Those fakes, that stall count getting higher all the time, but he trusts his breaks and gets it to Feely, relieving that pressure. I think I heard a collective sigh come across the Irish Sea in that moment. McNamara sends it. Bogan Carey free in the middle. Bogan Carey puts one out for Murphy. Murphy's gonna get there. He has to toe the line again. Immediately called in. Sam Murphy might be having the game of his life right now. He's been incredibly impressive tournament by him. He's had an amazing season. A leader in every sense of the word.
Lots of sideline hands go up as we're going to look at the replay here. It's really hard. I can't even see the line, so I'm not going to be able to make any call here. I think his toes were down. Were they on the line? It's impossible to see from that angle.
It looks like he's being called in. I think Ford's kind of stepping off as if he's ready to tap that back into play. Murphy, disc in hand. He has Deavy in the end zone. He has Feely in the dump position. Feely's going to clear out. Corcoran goes up the line, goes back to Rogers. Oh, and Murphy rescues it again. Ranelagh at times have been hanging into this game by a thread, and that thread is called Sam Murphy. Rogers looking, Feely's trying to move. That's a nice little stutter step. Throws Modiano off him. And now Feely directing traffic, calling for McNamara. That's a tasty little inside break. McNamara goes for the pop to Rogers, and Ranelagh move themselves 1 point away from a European title, 14-13.
14-13. It's going to be, wow, 14-13 Ranelagh. I did not expect this. Lorcan coming into this game, especially at the beginning, going down 2 breaks to start. The heart, the confidence, the play from this Irish squad, really impressive, really making a mark. They're one of the top European sides. Here we see some of that. It was just another saving play from Murphy, who has been the MVP of this game by a mile. I don't know if we're gonna get a chance to see his other saving catch, because he had another one that Rogers underthrew him just after this.
All across the sideline. pockets of support.
And there we see the other catch from Murphy that Rogers really just threw completely under to him. It's incredible stuff from Sam Murphy this game, Lorcan.
Nice little bit of directing traffic as well here by Feely. That's a brave break throw to go for it, and it just opened up the Clapham defense for the pop from McNamara into Rogers. Ooh, Ranelagh is echoing around the fields right now.
We got the Alba lads backing him. Dublin Gravity's over on the left. We have all the support coming for the underdogs here who are in the lead, 14-13. Clapham's O-line will take the field for the last time in this game.
Long, disc in hand. Pressure mounting, gets that one. It goes over the top, McNulty tears it down! That's probably the highest he's got in the air this whole game. McNulty, back to McCreary. McCreary. It bounces off. Oh, it bounced out of the hands of Stewart, off the head of Briggs, and then out of the hands of Stewart a second time.
Woo, a little bit of ping pong there, Lorcan.
So now Briggs picks it up. He's only looking one way, and that's dump. Finds it in the form of McHale. McHale, who's played at least 2/3 of the points in this game, in this match, I'd say. Yo and McHale working together. Yo has also been phenomenal all game long. Gets it down the middle to Abrams. Abrams searching. Finds Gordon on the far sideline. Gordon can't get the pop off straight away. He's looking for Mead. And he throws that through the body of Liam Fletcher. Then Mead puts up the floating pass. He's trying to find Abrams on the outside. Stewart's closing the gap, but not quite in time. And it goes to Universe Point.
Universe points. Universe points here at the EUCF Open Final in 2022. A lot of people thinking this one was going to be a blowout, but Ranelagh shutting them all up.
I'm not surprised. I'm a little surprised.
You got to be a little surprised, look.
Faith is unshakable. And the unclappable Flapham.
Something like that. The question here,
not got the same level of support that Ranelagh do, and you've got to wonder how much that factors in. They love being the antagonists of European Ultimate. They love rising to the occasion. The occasion doesn't get much bigger than this.
And Ranelagh has not been here before. Universe Point in a European final is not a place they know. And
they've been in Universe Point of All Ireland finals, and I think it's not
just
really comparable.
It's just about the same thing. No, but I think what's the determining factor here. Ranellagh's had their stars out for basically this whole second half. Is that fatigue going to settle in, or do they have one more point of perfect offense in them? I think if they give up the disc here, unless Murphy does something incredible, this Clapham power line that's going to come out is going to be able to score that pass. It's going to take perfect offense here. And can they keep their wits about them? Can they keep their heads in the game for this last point?
So the 7 men charged with rising to that challenge. Corcoran, Deavy, McNamara, Rogers, Bogan, Carey, Feely, and the man, the myth, the moment, Murphy.
And then on the Clapham side, we got Awcock, Connor McHale, Hillman, Ashley Yo, Justin Ford, Wilson, and Gordon. Quite a formidable line to go up against.
These are Titans, and they're going to war.
Offsides called.
The gamesmanship, the hit housery, as they say back home. We'll see if that blow lands, how it will knock them off their speed, off their position. They're actually going to VAR an offside call. This game has everything.
Let's see here. Offsides.
I think that was celebrated more than Murphy's towing the line for the score, to be honest with you.
So Ranelagh will get the brick mark. And here we go, Lorcan, the last point of the Open Division in Europe.
Rogers, Corcoran. Back to Rogers, back to Corcoran. Just dishing it, trying to attack, trying to break up that Ranelagh poach that they starve so many positions with. Feely gets the break across to Murphy. Murphy. Nothing really coming super available for him. Bogan Carey's well marked downfield by Wilson. Feely floats that one into the middle. What a grab by McNamara! There's a foul called. There's consternation sweeping across the pitches. McNamara takes flight against Justin Ford. Somehow he snags that, wrapping those fingertips around the disc. But did he wrap another arm around the Englishman? It remains to be seen. 14-14.
Ford was closing in hard. Let's see here. Oh. Here we go. I don't know about that. There might be some contact after the play, but Ford gets in the way. I think that play is so amazing, Lorcan. I think you kind of have to let it go.
I think I can't be trusted with any judgment call at this point in the matchup.
Well, we'll see what they say on the field, but to me...
To you.
To me, look, by the book, was there some contact after the catch? Yes. Was it dangerous? I'm not sure. Did it affect the play? I'm not sure. By the book, could you call that a foul? Yes. In this moment, would you want to?
Book.
If you want, would I really want to? I don't know. We'll see here. You see there that play again. I mean, I don't know. With a play like that, I really hope the disc at least goes back. I feel like that's the right call here.
So that's McNamara's second insanely athletic layout play we've seen on stream. He had that huge D as well against Mook on Friday. So right now this is being difficult. Very unlike a Sunday morning. Rogers searching. He has Murphy. Gordon is right on Murphy's shoulder. Rogers goes to the break. Corcoran across middle of the pitch. He sends it to Murphy, who's recycled all the way to the backfield. Bogan Carey's pumping legs, pumping iron. Alcock just has to watch him. Gets it down the line to Deavy. That's a fantastic undercut by McNamara, but
travel's called.
Again, I think a little bit of that turning at the end of the catch. McNamara had an amazing undercut on Ford. Unfortunately, it's going to be called back, so they couldn't hit it. Sends it into the middle. Rogers takes it down strongly. Murphy. And he floats that one ahead of Rogers. McHale tries to recover. Rogers hits Corcoran right in the middle of the pitch again. Corcoran goes back to Feely. Feely gets it across to Murphy. Murphy with the disc in hand. Back into Rogers in the middle. I think there's been another call.
It was a bit too free there. McHale's not usually the player to give him that much space.
As Murphy looking, Feely clears out. He floats one up for Corcoran. Just Murphy showing off about every facet of his game. There's the lefty leading pass. There's Rogers chasing it down. And in what has to be considered a metaphor, Rogers plows over Justin Ford to get the winning score. 15-14. The Ranelagh have done it.
History in the making. It is done. The Irish boys from Dublin are European champions. 15-14 coming out, going down 2-0 to start off, but punching their way through this Clapham side, forcing them into errors, playing tremendous offense. And again, we get Rogers. Look at that throw from Murphy, who's been a standout player all game. The hammer fake, put it in space for Rogers. He jumps for it. And he scores the goal for his team, and Ranelagh are going home with gold.
I got nothing.
How does this feel to you, Lorcan, as a Pelt lad, seeing Ranelagh take home a gold medal?
It's always fantastic to see someone go up against Clapham and take home the win. Everybody likes, you don't want to see too much dominance. You always want to see other clubs rising up, replacing them. Ranelagh, in a lot of ways, have followed a similar model to Clapham. They try to bring people up through the younger ranks. They hold the tryouts, but they really, really earned this. They've had such a long, tiring season. They are an incredible force, and they speak to the rising powers across Europe as well. I mean, they were a very close matchup against Mooncatchers. Cusp, of course, pushed Clapham so close. We had so many great performances by the Germans. It speaks to how there is talent all across Europe, and dominance is a difficult thing to maintain, and it's only getting harder. Ranelagh taking home their first European title. I don't know how you feel anything other than pride. If you're a fan of Ultimate, I also feel the adrenaline slowly leaving my system, so I'll probably start shaking in a moment. But what a performance. So many huge performances by amazing players, young and old, on this Clapham side. I mean, let's talk briefly about McNulty. That was his second D of the game. He read the play perfectly, gets it over long.
Yeah, for me, McNulty, the defensive player of the game here, where Murphy being the offensive player of the game for Ranelagh. A young guy coming out here, getting Ds on the perennial champs and taking home gold. Now, don't go away. We're gonna maybe take a short break here, but we're gonna have the winner circle in a few moments on this YouTube video. Take a short break here. We'll come back. We'll interview some of the Ranelagh guys and see what it means to them that they have taken gold here at the UCF.
just to play us out, we're going to watch a highlight package of Murphy. The layout D's from the O-line, making those crucial cuts early in the game, keeping his team in it. Let's not forget those two insane grabs he had just to save possession on one point, when I believe it might have been 13-13 at the time, maybe in the 12s. That was Deavy to Bogan Carey, and then Bogan Carey shoots for the back corner and gets a little bit too much of it, but gets just enough of Murphy as well. Money.
Murphy's such an incredible player.
There's plenty of them across this Ranelagh side, and there's plenty of them across this Clapham side. We saw the depth, we saw the power, and for Ranelagh to be able to go up against it and knock them out, it takes something truly Herculean to slay the Cyclops. I suppose more of a Hydra, really. Well, they've completed their labors, and now they get to take home the gold, the glory, back to Dublin. A huge congratulations to Ranelagh, a commiserations to Clapham. They were phenomenal as well, an incredibly well-spirited affair, so tightly contested, universe point. It's everything that we could have wanted, and we're nothing but grateful for it to both teams. Incredible stuff, and it was the first one. We've got more to come.
We got two more finals. We got Yaka versus Shout in the women's coming up next, and after that, Chrut versus Reading in the mixed division. But like I said, coming up shortly here on this channel, it will not be done yet. We have a winner's circle. We're going to get some Ranelagh people in here, interview them at the end of this game. So stick around for that. Still got two more games. Lorcan, Ranelagh, European champions.
2022.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
ULTI.TV.